Charlie Maier, Peter Perenni. I know we have an appreciation for manufacturing. Tell me a little bit about your story and how you ended up in this business, a little bit about why high quality works for you. How did that start out?
All right, well, my interest in high-end carbon fiber products started in 1992 when I started my first business. And that business was all about manufacturing carbon fiber products for racing. So I found that the materials were lighter and I thought at the time stronger, and actually in some ways they're definitely stronger. Stronger than fiberglass, stronger than aluminum, stronger than steels. But yet you could build these things that are really structurally strong with very little weight. So that was something intriguing for me. So I started making parts for racing. And in about 1996, we received some samples in the mail from one of our suppliers, and it was this laminated carbon fiber. So polyurethane on either side, carbon fiber in the middle. And I looked at it, I threw it on my desk, it sat there for a year, and one of the guys that worked for me picked it up and he said, you know, why don't you do something with this? Why don't you make a wallet out of it? And I was like, make a wallet out of it? What? You know, and he said, yeah, make a wallet out of it and stick your business cards in there and go to trade shows and show people what carbon fiber is all about, and it'll be more of a discussion piece. So in 1996, I started making carbon fiber wallets, and really it was just a leather wallet with carbon fiber stitched on the back side.
So what you were just mentioning, this carbon fiber with polyurethane sandwiched, and this, you're talking about this, right?
Yeah, so this material basically landed on my desk in 1996 in a little swatch that was about 3 inches by 3 inches. And I was looking at it and I'm going, interesting. I make rigid carbon fiber epoxy laminated parts, and here's this thing that's soft and flexible, and what good is this going to do me in racing? And so it basically just sat on my desk and I just didn't look at it. I had other things to do. So I bought some wallets from a Harley Davidson store in downtown Hayward, as funny as that is, okay? Yeah. And I went in and I asked the guy, could you stitch, you know, little swatches of this material to the back side of the wallet? And one thing went to another, and he ended up doing 50 wallets for me, and I started selling them, as funny as that was. So from there, different products have come and gone. We started getting into bags and clipboards and sunglass cases and all these different things. And as time would have it, we progressed all the way to here and now and doing watch bands.
Yeah, I want to know more about why it's fashionable, but first, you know, I'm big on function and I'm big on quality. So tell me a little bit more about why this material matters. Like, what is it made of and how does it hold up? What does it do?
So the deal with the carbon fiber, just in the general sense, carbon fiber is raw element carbon, and different from sometimes you might see advertised leather that is got a carbon fiber pattern in it or something, which is just stamped leather or stamped some other synthetic material. But the material that we use is actually raw carbon fiber. It's carbon material that's many, many strands. It looks like a little toe here.
Yeah.
Well, actually, to clarify it, one strand here is in fact 3,000 strands that generate a toe.
So go on, tell me more about, like, so you move from carbon fiber, you use it for wallets and bags. You're kind of branching in from the auto racing industry into the fashion industry.
Yeah, so that actually has been a really interesting transition, because I initially was just buying leather goods that were in the local town that I was working in, and then I branched out to having things made in Asia. And the challenge with having things made in Asia is I was going through a broker, I would go in to see them in San Francisco, and I would say, I want this bag or this wallet. Then they would send it off to people that they knew in Asia. I would approve samples, came back, and then the production wasn't always the same. So I really didn't have a tight control, essentially, on what was being produced.
Right.
And as my racing career and business career started to develop in the late 90s, early 2000s, I lived in Europe for 5 years, and I got introduced to essentially a company in Italy that manufactures wallets for Ferrari small leather goods. And this guy, David Albertario, he said, yeah, we can go ahead and make this, we can take this carbon fiber, we'll put it on our leather, we'll make you this perfect wallet that we would spend the same time and attention to doing Ferrari leather goods. We'll do it for your bags and wallets. And he had never really worked with carbon fiber. He made a few keychains prior to me showing up, but nothing like wallets or bags or anything. And that was really the beginning of what I would call really engaging into fashion, because of being able to work with a factory direct in Italy, second generation family. That was really pretty cool.
Nice. Italy, we both go back to Italy a lot. I studied there in Florence. I studied mostly language and art history, and we both understand it's got a really rich history in quality and artistic value. So I'm curious to know more about how both of those come together and why Italy matters so much.
The funny thing about doing business in Italy from a fashion standpoint that a lot of people don't know, and I've learned just because I've had products made in the US, fashion items. I've had fashion items made in Mexico, made in Asia, and in Italy. And the funny thing about the Italian culture, almost as a generic statement, is that you can take a design or an idea into a proper factory. I'm not talking about a broker, but you go into a group that's literally making bags and wallets right there on site, and you say, I have this idea, and I want to know if you can help me basically put it together. And the beauty of the Italians is they get so involved, and they have such an eye in that culture for something that would be appealing to the eye, that they really take your project and you've given them 7 out of 10 things that need to happen, and they fill in the blanks, and they do number 8, number 9, number 10, and then they throw in something extra that nobody could have imagined. And that's how a lot of the projects come, and I really love doing business with them for that reason.
Yeah, nice. So it's not so transactional in a sense of like them meeting the needs of your details, but they instill a little bit of their own spirit, their own design, their own heart and passion into it. I know Italians well. My father was from there, and all my family is still there. And I know that a lot of it also comes with a sense of patience and a sense of time that's different than ours. We move very fast here in America, and we move quickly to manufacture a lot of things quickly. In Italy, there's a lot of handmade goods that attend to detail. And so give me a little more understanding of how an Italian interprets this carbon fiber with the leather products in Italy, and actually what comes to be that creates such a beautiful watch band.
Well, it's an interesting thing. Again, more layers of doing business with the Italians in the general sense of manufacturing. I've worked with Italians that have done anything from racing shoes to racing gloves to when you go there, you don't go to a wallet manufacturer and ask them to make a watch band. You have to go to a watch band manufacturer to make a watch band. So when you go to these different factories, it's really important. Sometimes they'll be ambitious to want to take on new business and a new idea. They're excited to grow their business, but at the end of the day, you really need to find out what their niche is and then marry your goal with their niche. Right. So focusing on this watch band for a moment, I've actually spent to this month 3 years working on this watch band. So I was initially asked by Apple Computer, some marketing people there, to generate a carbon fiber watch band for distribution through Apple. They've changed some of their policies, so they're not carrying third-party brands as they were 3 years ago. So this is not going to, as far as I know, going to be launched through Apple. But nonetheless, I decided to stay focused on the course, and I'm selling it now direct. One of the things with this particular band is I started with one of the wallet guys, and I asked them to produce it. And they made some effort, but the details here in exactly how it is that you stitch a straight line in a very small item, how it is that you seal the edge off. It's different than a wallet. And how you actually stamp these holes and to get the clasp to go through every time without any interruption, to be able to get this fold over here and have it stitched so it's very clean. All these little details, you need somebody, the family that manufactures our watch bands has been doing this since 1959. That's all they do is watch bands. So they make them for Rolex watches, not necessarily for Rolex brand that I'm aware of, but I definitely know that they make them as replacements for high-end brands like Rolex. And it took me 2 years to finally find the factory that could do this. So there's a lot of homework and passion to pursue it to the end. So
your market is definitely a high-tech market, right? Apple Watches are fresh and brand new, and people buy them and immediately look for something that they can customize. So tell me a little bit about the ways in which people decide. Like, why is it that I would want this one instead of running to my Amazon account and searching for something on Amazon Prime, let's say.
So I'm going to ask you actually kind of a funny question to help me give the best answer. And the funny thing is that I think that most people are not looking for a carbon fiber watch band, and they would never know to look for a carbon fiber watch band. And I called you a few weeks ago to talk about this, and since then you decided to buy one, right?
Yeah. So yeah, this morning I went out and grabbed an Apple Watch. I thought it would be really fun to show what it looks like when it comes out of the box. It's gorgeous in a sense that it's, it's got the high tech, but it comes with a standard rubber watch band that just kind of pops off. It's a well-designed watch band. But quickly, what I realized in shopping for the watch was that the retailers were really interested in getting me to buy more. And so a huge array of samples on the wall, a huge array of samples in cases, and everybody was as interested about their watch band and how to customize their technology as they were about the technology itself. Mm-hmm. So what I've learned so far in just the half day that I've had this thing is the first go-to is to replace the band. And so that's my next step is like, how do I make my choice to know what I want in a watch band?
So my answer now, because I think that 99% of my customers or consumers to this product or that would enjoy this product are really in your situation. Mm-hmm. They're someone that's fashion forward. Mm-hmm. You actually happen to be Italian. You've been in Italy. You have an appreciation for the product and the way things are made in Italy. And I'm looking at it going, okay, I have gone out and found an Italian manufacturer, which is hard. I mean, nowadays to find someone that does watch bands really authentically in Italy, there's probably less than 5 in the whole of Italy. And so now we've got this really high-end brand. We've got high-end leather. The leather is actually made to be waterproof, water-resistant, and that's not something that's easily found. And then when you've got different colors, so we offer right now white, red, and black. So you've got 3 different colors, and they're all waterproof. Well, the rubber band easily satisfies that, but the leather, it's not so easy to just tell them, hey, I want this really high-quality leather that's also, by the way, waterproof.
Yeah, in fact, I'll tell you, I bought this with an explicit intention to buy something waterproof, and the newest iWatches come out as waterproof. So it's definitely going to be one of the features that I'm looking for.
Right.
But the fashion itself is interesting because while I appreciate the technology, I am interested in adding more high fashion, but I still want it to be functional and I still want it to be durable.
Right.
So far I'm hearing you tell me about this high quality stitching, the fact that the edges are all nicely sealed.
Yes.
That it's waterproof. Tell me more about the durability factor.
Yeah, so the carbon fiber, which is really a huge thing, there's carbon fiber and then there's carbon fiber in the sense of how it's laminated and how it's made. And the thing of it is that I have, through the last 20 years of manufacturing or having fashion items manufactured, used different suppliers. Mm-hmm. And you can get a polyurethane laminated carbon fiber from a variety of different locations that's less expensive. This right here is about $185 a square yard. And probably some of the most expensive leathers that you'll find will be in the $100 to $120 a square meter. And so this is really, if you were comparing it to leather, is a pretty expensive product. And you can buy stuff that's definitely cheaper, but when this thing folds over and over and over again and the clasp goes through the hole over and over, you don't want it to delaminate. And that is a factor that I've been tuned into.
Right.
And from my engineering background and all the products that I've developed, I've actually tried to remanufacture this polyurethane myself and in our own facility, and spent lots and lots of time with lots of engineers, and we haven't been able to make a better product than this particular company that puts this out.
So it is important this thing's going to last me at least a few years. I mean,
yeah.
I know the technology is going to be obsolete in a few years. This idea that Apple Watches are going to continue to move in through the next generations and get better and better. I'd like to be able to carry the watch band with me.
Right.
So far, Apple's been really great at manufacturing their connectors to be universal.
Right.
So Apple Watch 1, 2, 3, and now 4 still hold the same clasps.
Yeah, so these lugs, which by the way, I don't buy the cheap, inexpensive lug. I buy these from Avnet, which is the only Apple authorized supplier. And these things are about 5 times more expensive than I can buy them online through inexpensive Asian suppliers. But this, they offer 2 sizes. They offer the 38 to 40 to fit those 2 watches, or they offer the larger version that's the 42 and 44.
Right.
So I carry both sizes. both size lugs. And the other thing is Avnet currently only supplies this in the stainless finish. They don't supply it in the black finish. They don't supply it in that gold-ish finish.
Yeah.
So yeah, I know I get people that ask me from time to time, like you, for example, you've got the black finished watch and they say, hey, well, can't we get black lugs as well? Well, at the moment, the real Apple supplied lug is only in the stainless finish.
Stick with it until they authorize something better.
Yeah,
This is really,
once they do, then
right.
I'll make that change or make that as an additional offer,
Right.
but that's what I sell at the moment.
As I understand it, carbon fiber is still kind of at its dawn in the fashion industry. We are seeing it a little bit in the trim work of Mercedes and Ferrari and BMW and other high-end cars. I'm seeing it on the dashboards. I'm seeing it around, where there would be leather treatments. I'm now noticing carbon fiber in the fashion world. A little bit here and there in watches and wallets, purses and bags, things of that nature. So why should the fashion industry continue to pay attention to carbon fiber?
I think that's a great question, actually, sincerely. So in my brain, I'm comparing it a little bit to the auto racing industry. When I started my business in 1992, I started bringing carbon fiber parts to the racetrack and showing it to different teams and drivers and discussing features and benefits and convincing people to give it a try. And it was kind of this black magic, and people were sort of like, oh, okay. And some of the more risky people were willing to, and other people that were conservative sat back and waited.
Yeah.
Which, to be honest, I think is the case in the fashion industry.
Yeah.
They're starting to see it more so in their cars. If people are switched on to driving a Mercedes or a BMW or the Teslas even,
Right.
A lot of the accessories, aftermarket accessories companies are accessorizing these Teslas with all these
Right.
carbon fiber
Yeah.
things like a dash. And
Nice.
because it's beautiful. It's
Yep.
really a beautiful thing.
Right.
So my first business, at the end of 5 years, I was manufacturing 500 pieces a year. I sold that business to another company, and today they do about 30,000 pieces a year. Just that one factory that bought my little business.
Wow.
And I really just believe that it's something that's coming. It's going to be more mainstream. The people that get these watch bands, when they get the box, hand me that box right there.
Yeah.
When they get this box and they open it up in the mail and they go, wow, this is kind of cool. It's different. It's not like everything else. And then they open up the band and they say, this thing on my arm looks so much nicer than it did in the
look at
photos. There are
Sweet.
very few products that actually look better in your hand than they do in the photo, because people spend so much time making that product shot perfect.
Right. Nice. And it's nice too because it's still a leather product. It's still a leather product which brings some sense of nature or a natural kind of, old world style. I love that. I love that the stitching is extremely detailed and all the way to the point. There isn't a stitch out of place. And yet with the carbon fiber, it brings a whole kind of next level, next generation, which is a lot like the watch itself.
Right.
So it marries that kind of Italian vintage, high quality manufacturing with something that everybody in California and across this country are looking at, which is just, the next level tech.
Yeah,
So
you got
really
a tech
cool.
watch
Yeah.
there, a really tech material combined with fashion of
Yeah.
Italy.
And of course, interchangeable, right? So you've got white and black, you've got black on black, and I noticed red on black, a red stitch with a red leather. That's really racy and really cool.
Right,
So,
and my wife and I have gone through switching. She's got one side red and one side white, as I do.
because they're interchangeable
Yeah,
too.
so we're
of
able to
course.
mix and match and
Yeah,
try that.
Nice.
I don't have to really tell too many people after they've put it on their wrist, well, do you like it?
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, it sells itself.
Yeah, well, one thing I appreciate, while we're not here to really hype up what's going on with the new Apple Watch series, bringing the watch band in just adds, it brings it back to being something that, you don't have to get rid of old school appreciation, old world values, high quality work. So, yeah, well, thank you very much. This is awesome.